And today we look at something that I never had any intention on actually getting by way of Studio Series 86 Frenzy. You see, I was quite happy with the Titan's Return version, and not for nothing, I didn't feel like I needed this because I already kind of had the Siege ones. As it turns out, we now know that the impending Leader Class Soundwave in Legacy United will be the Netflix version with some alternate coloration, I think a better coloration, and he will come with this mold as Rumble in, I guess, toy accurate colors because it's a darker blue and kind of a purpley instead of the lighter kind of blues and stuff of the 86 release, as well as a gold recolor of Lasbeak into Buzzsaw, and yet another version of Ravage. And as it turned out, I don't know for sure if I'm going to get that or not. Time will tell. But here's what I do know. I wouldn't want to be left out in the cold with this guy if I decided to get that guy. And while I never once, first nor last, saw the 86 Rumble, this guy in my neck of the woods has been pretty abundant and pretty easy to get. Is he good, is he not? Well, we're going to find out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, line them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And this is the Studio Series 86 Frenzy Red. Before we have a whole bunch of people in the comments give the whole debate about Rumble and Frenzy and blah, 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 I'm going to reiterate it now, and I'm probably going to reiterate it a little bit later for anyone who kind of skips over this section. To me, I'm a cartoonist king guy. Rumble, to me, forever will be the blue / purpley lad, and Frenzy will forever for me be the red and black lad. It's always been that way for me since I was 6. It's not going to change now because somebody is a, you know, Toys King person or something, some such thing. So to me, this is accurate. In fact, in the review, I will compare this to the like Siege 2-pack version. And I think in the Siege 2-pack version, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was called Rumble and Rumble and Ratbat, if I'm not mistaken. And in the kind of 4-pack that had Knock and Scar and Wing Thing in it, even though there was a blue and black lad in that one, I think that one was called Frenzy. Like, I think that if you are a more toy accurate coloration person, then I think Siege had you covered. This is for people like me that is animation accurate. That said, since I was quite happy with the offerings that we had from Titan's Return, how impressed was I going to actually be with this? Because I kind of said, I don't really see the need for this. Is it good? Is it not? Is it wonderful? Is it not? Is it somewhere in between? I don't know. We're going to find out together when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And yes, indeed, unexpectedly, here we have Studio Series 86 Frenzy. I'm going to clear this up right now. I just want to make sure that it's very clear, at least on my end. I get the whole debate about which one is Frenzy and which one is Rumble. I'm a cartoonist king guy. So anytime that we're talking red and black, it will be Frenzy to me. It's what I naturally refer to it as. Anytime we're talking blue and purple, blue and black, that's going to be Rumble, because to me, that's Rumble. If you're the reverse, cool, you do you. But I'm a cartoonist king guy, so it's always been for the last 40 years and will be for the rest of my life that Frenzy is black and red and Rumble is some shades of blue. Sometimes he looks a little purplish. But that's just me. I just wanted to point that out. These go by the cartoon. And I wasn't going to get this, but of course we know we have the Leader Class Soundwave coming up with the 3 cassettes. I'll talk about that a little bit as we kind of go. This sort of came unexpectedly as part of Father's Day. Who am I to look a gift horse in the mouth? This is the packaging, of course, and you can see our lad up there looking very Frenzy-ish. His face over on this side. Over here, a close, I guess, of like his body again. And on the back, of course, we see his cassette. We see his robot mode with the blasters on his forearms, and we see the I guess robot mode with the pylons on him. I wasn't going to get this because I personally really like the Titans Return ones and the tanks that they turn into. And not for nothing, they have elbows. This guy doesn't. It will affect his score. I can guarantee you that 100%. Bro comes with some instructions, and I wanted to show this side because we see them address the blasters here and how they go on his forearms down there. We also see how, and we know that they can go on his back, I'll show that when we get to it. We also see how the arms go slightly transformed for the pylons, and the pylons over here. Here's the problem. When you're not using the pylons, or you're not using the blasters, there's nothing else really for them to do that I can discern. There's nowhere for them to go, they're just extra parts hanging out. We have heard that core class is seemingly coming to an end. I think the reason for that is not so much it's underperformed, it's that you're trying to pass off Micromasters that have a few added accessories as Legends class value. And they're not, I'm sorry. This guy, even with his, you know, neat little add-ons, and they are neat, there's no doubt about it, it's just, he feels less than when it comes to something that should be a core class slash Legends class. I think going forward, it's probably smarter to include these guys in the value proposition that you're trying to make for, you know, bigger size classes, right? That said, we as consumers need to be very aware that this is the ideology going forward, because we as consumers need to make sure we're not getting taken advantage of and fleeced. Food for thought, my friends. And here we have a number of the, I'll say Siege onward cassette boys, and a couple of things I wanted to note here in relation to the impending Soundwave that's up and coming. You'll notice I don't have Soundwave here because I wanted to focus on these little lads. First things first, I looked at the Siege Ratbat and technically Rumble, because this red and black lad was sold as Rumble along with Ratbat in Siege. I looked at that 4 years ago in episode 636, and I said then that first things first, the red and black I call Frenzy, not Rumble. Second thing, the thighs on that guy were black. They shouldn't be according to the animation. Third thing, he didn't have elbows. Fourth thing, he didn't have his red visor. And fifth thing, he didn't have his pylons. So there were things that I did not like about it, and right away I said, like, I wanted the Ratbat. I guess it's neat to have this guy as a cassette, but I'm going to stick with the Titans Return. Then we can fast forward just a little bit to 3 years ago in episode 744, when I looked at the Soundwave 3rd Unit Spy Patrol, which had two of the guys that actually belonged to Double Dealer, Knock and Scar. But it also came with Wing Thing, who ironically, when you transform Wing Thing, he doesn't quite fit in Soundwave. Fits in Sound Blaster, who had the double wide chest, but doesn't quite fit well anyway in Soundwave. I find he kind of gets stuck a little bit. I think he had a remolded head from Ratbat or something, and I don't think it was to his benefit. I also have, actually that's a lie, I don't have, one of the Scraplets has, the Frenzy that came in there that I would call Rumble, who was mostly black with some blue highlights. Now, as it turned out, what do I have here? Well, I have Ratbat and I have Wing Thing. I have this guy, who to me is a version of Frenzy, and I have this one that's custom painted. It is Enemy. Enemy by right should be red and black, but I like the red and blue for him. So this is a custom Enemy. If you don't know who Enemy is, he came out as part of Encore, and he also has a Masterpiece version. He's just another cassette boy. The Laserbeak that's there is the Earth Mode Laserbeak with the Earth Mode head that came with the Soundwave 2-pack. Same with the Ravage here. The Ravage that's going to be coming with the new Soundwave. Instead of having a gray handle behind his head, that will be black. And instead of having all of the silver on the side, there's a little less detail there. And his legs, instead of being all gray, will now be all black, which is still wrong. Ravage's legs should be gray or silver with black paws. That's the way it's supposed to go. So I don't know what I'm going to do if I get that in terms of a Ravage. Maybe I'll paint one to be Garboil, and Garboil is one of the birds, and who was the other one? Howlback. You know, maybe it's a Howlback. I don't know. Time will tell. That said, I do have a custom painted version of Buzzsaw using the Cybertronian version that has the whole yellow head visor thing. So I guess if I get the Earth mode version that's a proper Buzzsaw, I guess that will be cool. I don't know if I'm getting that yet or not. Time will tell. I will say this, the rumble that comes in there is not like the 86 rumble with its brighter blues. It has a darker blue on the legs and arms and more of a purpley-ish body and lower legs and pile drivers and I'll say forearms, because it's like a more toy accurate coloration of that rumble, although I kind of like the deeper colors if I'm honest. I never ever once saw the 86 rumble in stores here and I wasn't going to pre-order it because I wasn't going to get it. This guy, the Frenzy, he's been pretty abundant for the most part. So he's been kind of easy, and I'm going to take these guys out of it, to find. And when I saw what the Soundwave was, I said, nah, I don't know. And as, you know, fate would have it, I ended up with this guy sort of by accident. I don't know if it's fate telling me to get that Soundwave and replace my, you know, yellowed / custom painted Netflix version. I don't know. We'll see. Not for nothing, Dr. Wu done these two lads, and they are also fabulous. And again, not for nothing, I do have a version of Overkill via Overboard that came out as a Titan Master. I don't have a proper Slugfest. You know, a Slugfest and an Overboard would be nice. I know Dr. Wu is doing them. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on. You can see the comparison here. Obviously, we're going to go in closer, but obviously, the 86 is more accurate to Frenzy, at least the cartoon version. Okay, so now we got them in close. I can tell you this, the arms are the same. I think the chest is pretty much the same. But the pelvis, the upper legs, the lower legs, the feet, all of that is new tooling. And I think for the better. It makes them slightly taller. The head, I think, is the same head. So there are a lot of reused parts here, but not all of it is reused. We're going to take this guy out of it. Like I said, I thought he was cool. I just thought his coloration and stuff was a little bit off for what I'd like. And let's start giving this guy some scores. Let's begin with the look of him. And I guess we'll start from the bottom and go up. So his feet are the right color. The detailing with the light blue, the gold, and the red on his lower legs, the right color. The red thighs, the right color. The gold on the pelvis and whatnot, all of that is pretty much the right color. I do wish that his hips had the black as they should be, but it might affect articulation. So you know what? I'm okay with them being pinned red hinges. He should, on his very lower tummy, have a red line going around that I don't think is there. The chest otherwise is right. The arms should have red biceps and red, I'll say, elbow areas, which they have. And then the entire forearm and hand on this guy is black, though there should be a red cuff around his wrist. The blasters, they're correct, and the pile drivers, they're correct. So a little red line around the tummy, a little red line around the wrist. That's about it. I'm going to say 9.5. Easy a 9.5. Maybe even a 9.75 if I'm being perfectly honest about it. What about articulation for the guy? Well, let's kind of do that now. The head, it goes left and right. It can look back because of transformation, not really look down. The arms here can go forward and back, and they can go all the way around. No elbow. The wrist does fold in for this to go on, so I guess the wrist can go in and out. The pile drivers, I'm just going to take them up over his head. The pile drivers don't move at all. I thought that they might here, but they don't move at all. The legs, they go all the way out to the side. They can come down here and go all the way forward, all the way back. Very deep knee, and the toes can go up, but that's about it. I wish that this guy, just like with, you know, eject, rewind, the shattered glass, eject I think it was, maybe it was shattered glass rewind, I'm not sure. Honestly, they have elbows. I don't know why they didn't give this guy elbows. You absolutely, positively should have given this guy elbows. He suffers for it. And some people have said they didn't give him the elbows because of the pile drivers. You know what? You could have just had the arms fold up and hide the elbow. It wouldn't have been that hard. I think that there was a missed opportunity there. So no elbows. Other than that, he's pretty good, but the lack of elbows really makes the arms super static and they look awkward when the pile drivers aren't on them. Like if I take that piledriver off and that piledriver off, and I open out, assuming I can do this now, open out a hand and bring it forward, and open out this hand and bring it forward. And again, you can see the holes out here where you can put these blasters and stuff, but like, the arms look weird to me. They're not supposed to be this straight. It just looks weird to me. I'm going to say that it suffers a lot because of it, for me. Just like with the original, I don't know. The legs are certainly better. No waist on the guy. I'm pretty sure it's no waist on the guy, right? Nah, no waist. I didn't think there would be. I don't know. Let's say an 8, I guess. We'll say an 8. Then we'll do the transformation. So we had an 8, we had a 9.75. So right now, by rights, this guy's scoring very, very well. Let's do the transformation a little bit different than the transformation for the other cassette, because with the other cassette you didn't fold the head back, you just brought the shoulders up and they kind of tucked next to the head, and then you turned the legs out and folded them up over the arms and stuff. It was an okay transformation, but not super elegant. This one's a little bit better, I think. This one's very similar to what we got, again, with eject and rewind. Let's do it super quick. We take the head and we turn it around and we fold it down in the back of the body. We bring the shoulders up over and we fold the hands in. Now, with the previous transformation, the head would be between the shoulders and the shoulders were just on the side. The feet would turn out this way and then just fold up over. This time, we're going a little different. The feet turn the other way. They turn outward instead of inward. And we fold up the toes. And if you were wondering which way to turn the legs, we now have this added detail that tells us exactly what to do. This comes up and there's a couple of little notches at the knee that sort of guide over a couple of little tabs on the wrist. And then this one comes up and also goes over, and boom, in the end here we have, ooh, make sure I got that one right. Here we have Frenzy in his cassette mode. Love this transformation. Not for nothing, but again, trying to find something to do with the piledrivers and stuff, I tend to put the little blasters on them and be like, I don't know, like, I don't know, you could have a thruster or something here in the back, and this could be a little blaster turret or something. I don't know. And I do the same with the other one. And, like, kind of set it up that way to be a little blaster thing, but like, really, these are nothing now. They're just left off, and I find that to be a big, big bummer, personally. Transformation, I'm going to say, is a 10. It's fantastic. Not for nothing, this is an excellent, excellent Frenzy. His only weakness, honestly, is that he doesn't have elbows. Otherwise, I got to agree with the hype. This guy is absolutely fantastic. It's my only two gripes is no elbows, and these pieces just being off to the side in this mode. What do you do with them? Other than that, if you're okay with those parts forming pieces just being off to the side and you're okay with no elbows, this is an excellent, excellent mold. And here we are, and here he is. So, first things first, in terms of look for the character, this is really, really, really quite excellent, especially for the size that we have. I mean, I scored it very, very high because it deserves to be scored very, very high. The articulation is generally second to none, except for the arms, which we'll get back to in a minute. The transformation is very intuitive, very easy, very simplistic, but at the same time very, very rewarding, because while a lot of pieces kind of move in a pretty logical fashion, for something this small, it's enough that moves to keep it interesting. I do like the dedicated toes and feet better than the kind of molded in toe, and I do like the kind of blue and silver tape detailing that's on the legs and on the back. I enjoy that we have the two blasters that should be here, but it's unfortunate that they can't incorporate in any other way when you transform him to his cassette mode. They just have to lay off to the side. Same for the pylons. Nice to include them, and they look certainly cool, but when they're not on his arms, there's nothing to do with them. They just are there as a thing. So if you don't like parts forming, this might not be for you. If you don't like accessories left off to the side, this might not be for you. If you don't mind that, then it might be for you. But let's get to the one issue that I have. While I don't like the stuff off to the side, I can live with it. The one issue I have is, why do we not have any elbows? We know it can be done at this size with a mold similar by way of eject and rewind. So I think putting an elbow in here would have been really, really easy. I've heard that the reason that that wasn't done was because it might be too loose when you put the pylons on. I don't really buy that. I'm sorry. I don't really buy that as an excuse. I think that they just said, hey, we have good enough arms, we're just going to reuse the arms. And I get from a business standpoint why you would, but from a fan standpoint, now that we know that there could be elbows, I'm really disappointed that if you had this guy in a pose, in a stance, squaring off with rewind, rewind is going to look a whole lot more dynamic because of this guy's straight-armed, unnatural look. I like him. Do I think he's perfect? No. Do I understand why people would choose him? Yes. Do I like him better than the Titan's Return? No. I still think that that one is better if for no other reason than it has elbows. But again, it's a matter of subjectivity. And not for nothing, since I have kind of the bevy of all of the other cassettes at that size sort of by accident, why not make sure that I have this guy in case I do decide to go in on the Soundwave and get kind of the last of those cassettes. We could really use a proper overkill, not the Titan's Return Overboard, though I have that as a version of that character. But a proper cassette version of Overkill, a proper cassette version of Slugfest. I know Dr. Wu are doing some, maybe they'll be great, but you know what? Time will tell. For now, this guy's quite good, but I do wish he had elbows. Let me know what you think about the Rumble Frenzy mold with the pylons and whatnot. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time, and become a channel member. While you're at it, please hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.